The following training is for new faculty members or returning faculty members who need a little bit more information about how we at Howard College are accredited, specifically the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board and SAC-COC. My name is Amber Kelly. I'm an associate professor in Big Spring. I also have spent several years working with the ACGM through the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, and I'm currently the SACS liaison.
My name is Terry Nix, and I'm the associate professor in San Angelo, and I've had the pleasure of working with the SAC-COC the last few years and the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board on the workforce side, which is WECM.
So part of the important part of accreditation is how it relates to our vision and our mission. Being accredited means that we can fulfill our vision for learning, earning, and life, and that we not just support our communities, but we have the credentials through regional and state bodies to be able to remain open and give our students credit that will lead to recognized degrees, certificates, and transfer opportunities. Our campuses, of course, are Big Spring, San Angelo, La Mesa, and the Southwest College for the Deaf. This accreditation applies to all of these campuses, including the SWID campus. And our accreditation is actually shared among each of our campuses. We are not individually accredited. So the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, which you will hear referred to as the CB, is our state level accrediting body. It has a couple of things in play. One is something called the Academic Course Guide Manual, which is basically governs all of the academic courses, and I'll explain a little bit more about that. It tells us what we can offer. It tells us what our course descriptions are and our learning outcomes. The coordinating board oversees that, as well as WECM, which I'll let Terry talk just a little bit about, and then we'll talk about SACS.
So the WECM is workforce courses for credit and non-credit, and it is updated a little bit more often than the ACGM because the workforce industry moves a little bit quicker. But there is a committee that gets together and reviews these, and it's through this particular manual that the CTE and health programs can choose their courses to offer.
The SAC-COC, which is the Southern Association of Colleges Commission on Colleges, which is quite a mouthful. You may hear us refer to as SACS or SAC-COC. This is regional. It applies in a number of states, states like Louisiana, Georgia, Texas, etc. And this is what allows us to offer courses, offer degrees. It credentials our faculty as being valid contributors to knowledge, and runs all of our regulations from how we advertise to how we make things available to students. And so our accreditation through SACS is really important and something that you will hear about every 5 years, because we are accredited every 10 years, and then we have an update in the in-between in that. And losing your accreditation means that you are no longer allowed to offer degrees. So that's very important to us. The core curriculum is something that is governed by the coordinating board. It is specific to Texas. It's not the same as like Common Core, which you hear about in K through 12. Instead, it is a set of general education courses and skills that are administered at the community college level. This is to help bring compliance across courses and across community colleges so that we're not all offering different things and that our students are meeting the same goals, whether they're attending Austin Community College or Howard College. Core classes are required for graduation from Howard College, and students have to complete a certain number of courses in every component area. And I'll give a list of those on the next slide. Only certain classes within those areas can make a student core complete. So for example, if they take a creative writing class, that doesn't count in the communications area because it's not part of our core. The core is approved by the state. Howard College has to apply to have courses in our core, and it has to demonstrate how those fulfill those core objectives. Generally, core courses are general competency courses, things like art appreciation, things like general biology. They're not going to be those specific courses that might be taken either in upper levels or if a student were a major in that field. So ACGM, as I said, stands for Academic Course Guide Manual. This is updated about every year. I currently sit on the committee for the ACGM, and we meet twice a year. We go through the courses, we look at the outcomes to see if they're still relevant or if we need to update them. We look about enrollment to see if courses are still being offered and we still have students taking them. One of the important things to know about the ACGM as a faculty member, and a big difference between being at a university, is at a university you can make up your own course and just offer it within your department. You can't actually do that at community colleges. It has to be existing in the ACGM. If the course is in the ACGM and we don't offer it, you can request that we get approved to offer it in our catalog, but you can't just make up courses. That is a pretty big difference between community college and universities. And again, that's to help our students so that we have that level of conformity so they'll be able to transfer later on. The courses are reviewed, as I said, every couple of years. Changes are usually made by faculty in that area. That's something else that sometimes people don't know, is that we think it's just the state telling us we can't teach a course anymore. But before a course is removed, it's reviewed by people who actually teach that course to look at, does it need to be updated? Is it still something we need? All of this is really designed to help our students transferring on the academic side. Those core component areas, the breakdown here you can also find on our website and in the catalog: communication, math, life and physical sciences, language, philosophy, culture, creative arts, American history, government, social behavior sciences. We at Howard have an additional communication requirement. Most students take speech, but this can also be fulfilled by ASL. And then an additional core course. You'll notice there are a different number of hours. For example, our students are only required to take one math course, but they have to take 2 communication courses. In some areas, this is very standard. For example, government, they're going to take federal and Texas government. Those are really the only offerings. But in something like language, philosophy, and culture, that could be everything from anthropology to literature to some of the history courses. And so there's a complete list on our website that tells you if a course is in the core. Because of our size, most of our courses are core courses that we offer, just because that's the best use of our faculty, but not all of them. And so you should always double check to see if a course is in the core.
The WECM, as I mentioned before, stands for Workforce Education Course Manual, and similar to what Amber talked about in the ACGM, it's published by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. Any of the changes are made by faculty. All of the listings in the WECM are career and technical, health, and non-credit courses. And again, as the ACGM, courses are reviewed every few years. And another component of the WECM is that there is a side WECM committee that's made up of administrators, but they also, the coordinating board works with the state organizations for communication and maybe some changes that are happening that we're not aware of. So that's a very good communication skill. So there's also a component about the WECM that if a college wants to offer a local need or a special course, they can request that on a local level. So for example, if there's an employer that comes to our college and they want to offer a non-credit course in social media etiquette, then our college can request that. And usually it's approved and there's a time frame and you can have, renewals on that. But it is an opportunity to add courses temporarily in order to meet our workforce needs in the communities. The thing about the WECM is that there are several levels that you can get an award, and many of our programs start at a certificate level 1, which is 15 to 42 credit hours. Usually at Howard College, we try to make 15 to 30 max, so that if we have a student that needs an industry award, they're not in college a long time, they can get those skills and they can get out and get a job. Another benefit of a certificate level 1 is there's no standards pre-testing. So again, an employer can send one of their employees and they can take this certificate level 1 and they don't have to be stressed about your math and your English right off the bat. If a student wants to continue, we also offer a certificate level 2, which consists of the 30 plus 51 hours. And all of these awards stack on top of each other. If they go into a certificate level 2, then that's where the testing would come into play. And then the last step for a community college is an Associates of Applied Science. It is 60 hours, and of the 60 hours, 15 of those come from the core that Amber was talking about. Some of the courses that we offer in these awards can come from the ACGM instead of the WECM. For example, I teach accounting. And so in our certificate, we offer the transfer accounting course that comes from the ACGM. So that fits the need of the certificates that are awarded on a CTE side. Not all of our programs have all of these steps. We work with our local industries to figure out what is needed, and then we, will add or take away as needed. All of our workforce programs are required to assess each course every year, make sure that it's fitting into their program, set up program goals, and we report those to the SAC COC for accreditation. Those assessments and goals are defined and reported once a year. So the two between the SAC COC and the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, they mesh together for a flawless finish to each program every year. Another option that we have on the CTE side is non-credit programs where, again, if you have an employer that wants short skill sets, then we can apply for a program. Usually there's no credit involved, and usually it's based on clock hours and not credit hours, so it moves much quicker. Those are done specifically case-by-case basis, but it can also build and lead into the credit side for a license or certification or registration. And this is something that our college is working toward more because we're seeing our workforce move quicker. And again, they don't want to wait. Some of the things that Howard College does right now, we're working on a Microsoft certification. We're working on CPR and life support certifications, and those are all now on the non-credit side. But again, those can be moved into the credit side should we want to expand those.
So that's pretty much our presentation. One thing that I would just kind of end on is that if you have questions about the core, about the ACGM, about how the process works, about WECM, about any sort of programs, you can always ask your division deans, but you can always ask Terry and myself. We both serve on these committees and can kind of tell you behind the scenes of how things are made. I think sometimes faculty think that they don't have control and they don't have input in these state accrediting bodies. And I'll speak from my ACGM experience that you absolutely do have input. It's just not aware. So if you want to know why something is the way it is about accreditation, you can certainly reach out to either one of us and we're happy to talk to you. I will not talk to you about WECM though, because I'm not the expert. I don't think Terry wants me talking about it. So thank you, Terry. Thank you, whoever watches.
Yes, thank you. And again, we're here to help.